Hello, Rick. Hello, Maria. How's connection, audio, video? Hello, Anna. We'll get started in about 2 minutes. Hello, Visaka. Welcome. All right, let's get started. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Virupakehi me metang erapatehi me. Chabya putehi me metang kanha gotamakehim cha. Apadakehi me metang dvipadakehi me. Chatupadehi me metang bahupadehi me. Mamang apadago hingsi, mamang hingsi dvipadako. Mamang chatupado hingsi, mamang hingsi bahupado. Sabbe satta, sabbe pana, sabbe bhutta cha kevala. Sabbe badrani pasantu, makanchi papang agama. Appamano buddho, appamano dhammo, appamano sango. Pamanavantani siring sappani. Ahi vichika sattapadi. Unanabhi sarabhumusika. Katame rakka katame paritta. Patikan mantu buttani soang namo bhagavato. Namo sattanang samma sambuddhanang. English. There is metta from me for the Virupakas. For the Erapatas, there is metta from me. There is metta from me for the Chabyaputas. For the Kanha Gautamakas, there is metta from me. For me, there is metta for those with no feet. For those with 2 feet, there is metta for me. For me, there is metta for those with 4 feet. For those with many feet, there is metta for me. May those with no feet not hurt me. May those with 2 feet not hurt me. May those with 4 feet not hurt me. May those with many feet not hurt me. May all beings, all those with life, may all who have become, all in their entirety, may all see what is good. May suffering not come to anyone. Infinite is the Buddha, infinite is the Dhamma, infinite is the Sangha. Finite are creeping things, snakes, scorpions, centipedes, spiders, lizards, and rats. I have made the protection, I have made the safeguard, may the harmful beings depart. I pay homage to the Sublime One, I pay homage to the 7 Buddhas. All right, friends. So it is Monday night, and we have just started another Dhammapalooza, the first Dhammapalooza in quite a while, probably a month at least, somewheres around there. And because I've been traveling, I've been in California, I was in India for the last 2 weeks, just got back about 4 days ago. And so now I'm just recuperating and starting up all my normal activities once more. So as usual, Dhammapalooza is a event that is community guided. And if there's lots of activity and energy, we'll go longer, but we'll try to at least go for an hour. Yes, Chris, I can see you. Hello, Yankee. Hello, Gregory. Welcome. So if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, you can put them in the chat. If you have any topics you'd like me to discuss, you can put those in the chat. And if nobody has anything, well, we can always read a sutta. I saw no snakes. I saw no creepy things in India. I got eaten by mosquitoes a bunch. I can still see the bites even like a week and a half later. They last longer than the mosquitoes in America. I don't have malaria or anything. I don't think. So I did feel coming back. I felt like I had a little bit something the last couple of days. I don't know if it's just the jet lag or whatever, but I think I'm getting better. But no, I saw no really kind of dangerous wildlife, mosquitoes and monkeys. Lots of monkeys everywhere. Visaka says, how was your trip? Has it influenced your practice in any way? No, not really. I had a few I had a few experiences, but in general, I didn't get much out of the places, especially the very overcrowded, busy places. Um, but I think it will be a really important thing, especially for faith followers, to do these things. Um, but I'm glad I did it. I don't know if I'll ever go back to India again. Maybe if I'm like when I become senior and people want to invite me to like do something, like that Tipitaka chanting, I would definitely be a part of that. I'd go back to Bodh Gaya for that. But I'm glad I did it once. And my favorite place in India, hands down, was Jetavana. Jeta's Grove and Natapindika's Park. That was an amazing place for me. I loved it. And I had this deep feelings of deep intuition of being there before many times and just not wanting to leave. It was the only it was the only Buddhist holy site where it's like I could stay here. Just let me be here for a while. Yeah. And Bodhi tree there, which is apparently supposedly from the time of the Buddha. It looked pretty wild, pretty old, pretty big. But yeah, definitely Jetavana was an amazing place. Yeah. I mean, if you just look at it, it doesn't look all that different than many of the other places I was at. It's just I think for me personally, there was a lot of deep connection. So I've had a strong emotional experience there. Have you visited, Chris? You've been to Vulture's Peak? Vulture's Peak was nice. Little overcrowded, lots of beggars. Um, it's the views from Vulture's Peak very, very similar to like the views at the top of the mountain at Bhavana. Very, very kind of, like Appalachian level mountains. Like you could be at the top of the mountain at Bhavana and look out, and it's very similar. I mean, obviously the flora and the fauna are different, but in terms of like elevation, in terms of the rolling mountains, or hills if you're from Colorado, you go, you know, um, very similar kind of views. Like I felt like I would like to, you know, maybe spend a week up in the mountains, a week up in Vulture Peak. I don't know if they'd allow it. I mean, there's too many pilgrims, too many, people going back and forth. I don't think you can actually stay there, to be honest with you. But yeah, if for those of you who are on Facebook, I actually kind of chronicled my journey from all the different places. I put up pictures and I explained. So if you are on Facebook, you can check my. I have some pictures of Ultra Peak and things like that. Um, you can check those out. In terms of like places from the suttas, Yeah, well, I mean, I guess technically Varanasi, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, that was from the suttas. Um, but like, like Vulture's Peak, uh, Jetavana, those were like, it's like living in the suttas. It was quite nice in that regard. But like most of the places, like for instance, Bodh Gaya is like a maybe 2 square city blocks, and all around it is city. So it's just like this square in the middle of a city. Varanasi or Sarnath, it's kind of the same thing, although it's a bigger space. Surrounded by city. These are not like quiet, out of the way places. They've been built up. And don't forget that most of these places were only found in the last like 150 years because they got kind of destroyed and lost. And you know, cities built up. So it's not like these are have been open places for 1,000 years. And no, they the Hindus and the Muslims, they just built up around it, or sometimes maybe even over it. Who knows? But yeah, these are not like quiet, out of the way places. This is for sure. Um, and they're all about like 4 hours drive from each other. This is one thing that people I think don't know. Like I traveled probably about 2,000 miles, maybe a little bit, actually more, maybe closer to 2,500 miles. Like it's okay. Here's Bodh Gaya. Now 4 or 5 hour drive to or here's Varanasi. Now 4 or 5 hour drive to Bodh Gaya. Now 4 or 5 hour drive to Kusinagara. Now, so it was just like every day was minimum 4 or 5 hours of driving, um, to go to these different places. Uh, how did I get the requisites? My driver brought me to lunch. That's how. It's the so basically how it works is, again, there's a whole cottage industry around pilgrims because there's millions of people. I mean, I saw thousands and thousands of pilgrims, lots and lots of huge Thai groups, like huge groups of like maybe 20 Thai monks and like 100 Thai lay people. Just huge groups. I mean, Thailand's pretty close. It's just right across the Bay of Bengal. Um, but there's like lots of cottage industries, and what you'll have is like people like. So what happened in my case was, so the people who supported my my trip. So that will be Shanta and Anoma, the two sisters. Shanta is the one. Anoma is the sister who lives in Australia, who brought me to Australia 2 years ago. So Shanta is the sister who lives in Georgia in America. So Shanta, Anoma, another Udayana. So there's this group of Sri Lankan supporters who have been to the holy places, and they know a monk. There's a Sri Lankan monk in Varanasi, Sarnath, Bante Piasila. Very nice monk. I liked him a lot. And so they basically kind of like were paying through him, and he had all the local connections. And so there was one kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, guide, who picked me up from Delhi. And he didn't have a car, and it was kind of a huge distances anyway because we took trains. So there was no, so basically we took subways, trains, just all public transport, a bus, um, for the first couple days. And because I went to Sanchi, which is very out of the way, it's more towards the middle of the country. So I kind of started out going down and then up, two long train rides, just to go to Sanchi. Um, which is a place where there's Buddha relics, and it's really beautiful, really nice place, kind of out of the way. That most tourists do not go there. It's very small town around it. Beautiful place. And then once I got to Varanasi, then that's when Amit, my driver, kicked in. And so every day, we stopped for breakfast, we stopped for lunch, and he was very surprised, and the Bante was very surprised that I don't have dinner, because like things like not eating after 12 and not using money, all these kind of things are very, very rare. That's why I told some monastics that if you go on these pilgrimages, you should go in a group and you should be with lay people, because even things like paying rupees to go to the bathroom, it's like, honestly, I don't know how the heck I did it without using money at all. It was just wild. I went to the bathroom this one time and I didn't notice. Afterwards I kind of noticed, like, okay, it will kind of tell you, or there'll be a guy out there, like it'll say 5 rupee, 10 rupee, whatever. And I went to the bathroom. It was the only bathroom in this whole area. I was stuck there for like an hour waiting for this event to happen. And I need to go to the bathroom. And there's like, this was the only one. And I went and I came out and like, rupee, rupee. I'm like, Buddhist monk, no rupee, no dollar, no nothing. And I mean, I kind of felt bad. Like, if, like in America, I wouldn't have just walked off on that, because I feel like I should probably pay it. But like, what am I gonna do? I'm like, what am I gonna stand there for hours saying no rupee, no? I said finally, I just walked off. I just left. Because they don't know what a monk is. They especially don't know what a Buddhist monk. If they think I'm some kind of renunciate, they think I'm probably a Hindu. One person, I think, said Krishna, Hare Krishna, which was funny because I'm like, that's what a few people in America have thought. A few people in America thought I was, I've been Hare Krishna, and here I'm in India, and they think I'm, like a Hindu guru. Uh, but yeah, like, not using money, like all like the more like stricter monk rules, very, very rare, kind of unheard of. But so like my meals, breakfast and lunch, were covered. We stopped at different places. Amit was like really good at kind of like knowing the better places to take me. So that's what he did. So like, and if I needed something like, at one point I needed like cream, because my heels got really cracked and like they can start bleeding, and stuff like that, because dry skin. So like if I needed something like that, he would get it for me, no problem. So that's kind of how it would, and all of this was getting paid by the supporters back in America, um, through Bante Piacila, who was the logistics guy for all of my events. I'm going here on this day, here on that day, here on this day. So that's kind of how it was set up. So like if one of you all went to wanted to do Varanasi, Bodh Gaya, like the main sites, if you flew into Varanasi, you can get Amit for like 5 or 6 days, and he'll just take you all the way, and you kind of do like a loop. Not like me, like coming into Delhi. Next time I go, I will take another flight from like Delhi to Varanasi. I'm not gonna do if I go back again, I ain't gonna do what I did this time. You know. Um, so that's kind of how the system works. There's people who, and Emmett is Hindu. He's not Buddhist. Basically knows very little about Buddhism, but he knows the holy sites pretty well, and he's done like he's brought like the Thai Ajahns on this. He's done all of these kind of things. Like he's very familiar. So there's like a cottage industry of drivers. Now he won't like what happens is they'll just bring you to the site and then they say, okay, go. Like it's not like the person's like a tour guide. That's a whole separate person. Like if you want to have like a tour guide that's going to bring you around the sites and tell you about the specific things, that's not, that's a different person. Amit is the person who's making sure that you have a place to stay at night, getting you, keeping on schedule, getting you to the places, etc., getting you anything you might need. So two different setups in that regard. I was ridiculously exhausted the whole trip. It was, I had a lot of aversion during this trip. There's no doubt. A lot of agitation. Um, because it was a fast pace. It was very exhausting. I was having to try to figure things out, like, you know, um, showering in the Indian way, and going to the bathroom in the Indian way, and all these things. It was a lot. It was a lot, um, for 2 weeks. Um, but I kind of get the last half. I was kind of used to things. I kind of figured most things out, and it just got into a rhythm, and I was okay. But still, at the airport to go home, I did kind of. I don't want to know. I wouldn't say it was kind of an outburst, but I did kind of have a little bit of a public agitation, and I kind of feel bad because I was like, like that. That's not exactly the the example of a monk that should be. But I was just exhausted, so it is what it is. So yeah, if you want to do the pilgrimage, I would suggest going with a group and going with a monk who can kind of be a tour guide. When you go to the place and the monk, because I saw that at the different places. Like there would be a monk, and they would stop at the different places, and then the people with the monk, the lay people, would get like a little story, a little lesson. Um, I also kind of caused, I wouldn't say I caused an international incident, but I kind of did something at one site that I guess I wasn't supposed to, although it wasn't obvious. There's this huge stupa. I forgot the name of it, but supposedly on the top of the stupa, which is like 100 feet tall, it was like the tallest, like kind of, it was almost like a pyramid. It wasn't really just like a stupa. Like the stupa was kind of up top, but it was this place apparently where where they kept the Buddha's bowl. Um, and you like, there's like people can walk around it. Or what I saw like it wasn't like a paved path, but it was like a well trodden dirt path going up. So I went up. I climbed up like 100 feet, and I'm on top. And I see all of a sudden people on the ground, come down, come down, come down. And I guess like the guardians of the area, like nobody's supposed to go up there. Where it's like I'm thinking, well, you probably should have blocked these paths because there's like 3 or 4 wide open paths going all the way to the top. But it was quite beautiful. I took some pictures from all the way up top there. Um, it's not like I didn't like trotting over a any like a holy site. Like everywhere I was like was built for people to walk on. But I was kind of like, because I'm usually not the kind of person that would that would cause trouble like that. Um, but I was like, hey, there's a path going up. I want to go up. Check it out. All right. Weren't doing TikTok dances, that's for sure. Everywhere I went, there were tons of kids, tons of like school groups, every place, every major place, tons of kids. And the older ones were doing like TikTok, like so some of the women, like these like teenage girls, and they're like, dude, I mean, like, just like America, like, wow, this is just like America. And even Amit, who's he's like 39. He's like married a couple years, has a little girl, like 2 years old. I saw pictures, and we like kind of showed each other our lives. And he's like, yeah, the women. He's like making poses. But yeah, there. So by the time I got to Lumbini in Nepal and I saw that picture, I don't know, did you see the Chris, did you see the picture on Facebook? You saw the picture on Facebook, no TikTok. By the time I saw that, I had already seen enough experiences of like, yeah, they did it right. Because this is like a holy place. Shouldn't be, doing stupid stuff, for clicks and for pictures and things like that. Um, so I did see that a bunch. Um, and at Nalanda, the ancient Buddhist university, I was walking, and there's a group of like 5 kids, and they're all like probably between like 13 and 16, and they're like selfie, selfie, and so they all get around me, and they have the phone out. I thought they just wanted to take a picture, but he put it on video, and I'm like, hmm. And then they're like, say this word, say this word, say da 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 da. And I'm like, I'm a teacher. I know you boys. I know what you're trying to do. And once they realized like they weren't going to get me to say some probably curse word in Hindi or something like that on video, they're like, oh, okay. Then they just walked off. So, yeah, I had some interesting experiences with kids there, which was nice. The boys trying to be silly with me, which that's the way boys are, especially young teenage boys. The girls were very nice. They're like, "Hello, hello." They say the word Guruji, Guruji, Ji. That's like their respectful address to renunciants. So yeah, there were definitely TikTok antics going on. All right. Why don't we read a sutta since the chat is quiet? Well, Chris, I mean, I spent like 14 years of my life being with kids, especially teenagers. So I know enough. I know when I'm trying to be when somebody's trying to troll me. That's for sure. So hard-heartedness. Chaitokila Sutta. So I have heard. At one time, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove in Atthapindika's monastery. There, the Buddha addressed the mendicants. Mendicants, venerable sir, they replied. Let me see something. All right. The Buddha said this: Mendicants, when a mendicant has not given up 5 kinds of hard-heartedness and severed 5 shackles of the heart, it is not possible for them to achieve growth, improvement, or maturity in this teaching and training. What are the 5 kinds of hard-heartedness that they haven't given up? Firstly, a mendicant has doubts about the teacher. They're uncertain, undecided, and lacking confidence. This being so, their mind doesn't incline towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. This is the first kind of hard-heartedness they haven't given up. Furthermore, a mendicant has doubts about the teaching. This is the second kind of hard-heartedness. They have doubts about the Sangha. This is the third kind of hard-heartedness. They have doubts about the training. This is the fourth kind of hard-heartedness. Furthermore, a mendicant is angry and upset with their spiritual companions, resentful and closed off. This being so, their mind doesn't incline towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. This is the fifth kind of hard-heartedness they haven't given up. These are the 5 kinds of hard-heartedness they haven't given up. What are the 5 shackles of the heart they haven't severed? Firstly, a mendicant isn't free of greed, desire, fondness, thirst, passion, and craving for sensual pleasures. This being so, their mind doesn't incline towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. This is the first shackle of the heart that they haven't severed. Furthermore, a mendicant isn't free of greed for the body. This is the second shackle of the heart. Furthermore, a mendicant isn't free of greed for form. This is the third shackle of the heart. They eat as much as they like until their belly is full. They indulge in the pleasures of sleeping, lying down, and drowsing. This is the fourth shackle. They lead the spiritual life, hoping to be reborn in one of the orders of gods, thinking by this precept or this observance or fervent austerity or spiritual life, may I become one of the gods. This is like a mortal sin for Buddhist monastics. The goal of the holy life is full awakening. To stop short of that, or to have a kind of goal short of full awakening, the Buddha is not a big fan of. This being so, their mind doesn't incline towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. This is the fifth shackle of the heart they haven't severed. These are the 5 shackles of the heart they haven't severed. When a mendicant has not given up these 5 kinds of hard-heartedness and severed these 5 shackles of the heart, it's not possible for them to achieve growth, improvement, or maturity in this teaching and training. When a mendicant has given up these 5 kinds of hard-heartedness and severed these 5 shackles of the heart, it is possible for them to achieve growth, improvement, and maturity in this teaching and training. Just gonna view line by line, English. Okay, there we go. Where are we? Oh, I wanted to see what Bhante Sujato was translating as hard-heartedness. This is a barrenness of mind, like a wasted mind, unproductive state of mind. All right. Now that we've seen what they haven't given up, now we go to what has been given up. What are the 5 kinds of hard-heartedness they've given up? Firstly, a mendicant has no doubts about the teacher. They're not uncertain, undecided, or lacking confidence. This being so, their mind inclined towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. This is the first kind of hard-heartedness they've given up. Furthermore, a mendicant has no doubts about the teaching. They have no doubts about the Sangha. They have no doubts about the training. They're not angry and upset with their spiritual companions, not resentful or closed off. This being so, their mind inclined towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. This is the 5th kind of hard-heartedness they've given up. These are the 5 kinds of hard-heartedness they've given up. What are the 5 shackles of the heart that they've severed? Firstly, a mendicant is rid of greed, desire, fondness, thirst, passion, and craving for sensual pleasures. This being so, their mind inclined towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. This is the first shackle of the heart that they've severed. Furthermore, a mendicant is rid of greed for the body. They're rid of greed for form. They don't eat as much as they like until their belly is full, then indulge in the pleasures of sleeping, lying down, and drowsing. They don't lead the spiritual life hoping to be reborn in one of those orders of gods, thinking by this precept or observance or fervent austerity or spiritual life may I become one of the gods. And just to go back to here, this one is interesting. They don't eat as much as they like until their belly is full. You might know, some of you who might know Ajahn Chah, Ajahn Chah, his recommendation was to eat until about maybe in 5 more spoonfuls you'd be full and then drink water, right? So like his recommendation was to stop before you were full, you know. And so I think that's a very good idea. That's what I try to do as well. I've actually I know kind of when I'm mostly almost full, from various aspects of the body, signs in the body, like burping and the feelings and things like that. I can tell I'm almost there. Now it's time to stop and drink some water, something like that. It's good practice of mindfulness, understanding the body in that way. All right. That being so, their mind inclined towards keenness, commitment, persistence, and striving. This is the 5th shackle of the heart they've severed. These are the 5 shackles of the heart they've severed. When a mendicant has given up these 5 kinds of hard-heartedness and severed these 5 shackles of the heart, it is possible for them to achieve growth, improvement, or maturity in this teaching and training. They develop the basis of psychic power that has immersion due to enthusiasm and active effort. The basis of psychic power that has immersion due to energy and active effort. The basis of psychic power that has immersion due to mental development and active effort. The basis of psychic power that has immersion due to inquiry and active effort. The 5th is sheer vigor. A mendicant who possesses these 15 factors, including vigor, is capable of breaking out, becoming awakened, and reaching the supreme sanctuary from the yoke. Suppose there was a chicken with 8 or 10 or 12 eggs, and she properly sat on them and kept them warm and incubated. Even if that chicken doesn't wish, if only my chicks could break out of their shell with their claws and break and hatch to safely. Still, they can break out and hatch safely. In the same way, a mendicant who possesses these 15 factors, including vigor, is capable of breaking out, becoming awakened, and reaching the supreme sanctuary from the yoke. That is what the Buddha said. Satisfied, the mendicants approved of what the Buddha said. All right. So maybe we can read Dhammapada for a little bit and then call it a night, since there doesn't seem to be. Robert says, FYI, ghee, clarified butter, is amazing for cracked heels. Only thing that works for mine. In my experience, lotion usually is easier to come by than ghee. So, yeah. The analogy for the hatching chicks was made by Ajahn Sona this Sunday as well. Yeah, this the hatching chicks is something you see a couple places. This simile only has the first half, right? Because I don't believe they talk about the hatching chicks in the beginning, do they? I think he only uses it like basically, this was so okay. This was a common simile, and I'm using it again. But maybe I missed it at the end. No, they don't have it even at the end, in the middle of the sutta. So yeah, but in the I forgot which sutta it is, but the idea is that it doesn't matter if you wish or not. If you do the dependent origination, if you do the causes and conditions, if you put in the work, then naturally the result will occur, whether you like it or not, whether you wish for it or not. If you just wish for it, it's not going to happen. But if you put in the work, development, then it will happen whether you wish for it or not, because the conditions are have arisen. All right. Okay, then, Visaka, why don't we do like a 15-minute silent meditation? So we can start that now, and then after that, we'll call it a night. Slowly open your eyes, becoming aware of the room around you, your body's position in it. I will read some Dhammapada. Papa, evil. Hasten to do good. Restrain your mind from evil. He who is slow in doing good, his mind delights in evil. Should a person commit evil, let him not do it again and again. Let him not find pleasure therein, for painful is the accumulation of evil. Should a person do good, let him do it again and again. Let him find pleasure therein, for blissful is the accumulation of good. It may be well with the evildoer so long as the evil ripens not. But when it does ripen, then the evildoer sees the painful results of his evil deeds. It may be ill with the doer of good as long as the good ripens not. But when it does not ripen, then the doer of good sees when it does ripen, the doer of good sees the pleasant results of his good deeds. Think not lightly of evil, saying, "It will not come to me." Drop by drop is the water pot filled. Likewise, the fool, gathering it little by little, fills himself with evil. Think not lightly of good, saying, "It will not come to me." Drop by drop is the water pot filled. Likewise, the wise man, gathering it in little by little, fills himself with good. Just as a trader with a small escort and great wealth would avoid a perilous route, or just as one desiring to live avoids poison, even so should one shun evil. If on the hand there is no wound, one may carry even poison in it. Poison does not affect one who is free of wounds. For him who does no evil, there is no ill. Like fine dust thrown against the wind, evil falls back upon that fool who offends an inoffensive, pure, and guiltless man. Some are born in the womb, the wicked are born in hell, the devout go to heaven, the stainless pass to Nibbana. Neither in the sky, nor in mid-ocean, nor by entering into mountain clefts, nowhere in the world is there a place where one may escape from the results of evil deeds. Neither in the sky, nor in mid-ocean, nor by entering into mountain clefts, nowhere in the world is there a place where one will not be overcome by death. All right, friends. Well, that's it for tonight. Sukiotu, may you be happy and at ease. Practice well and be well. May you have a spiritually successful and peaceful practice until we meet again, which, if I'm alive, should be next week for another Dhammapalooza. Have a good week.